Welcome to Agrifood Conversations, brought to you by iSelect, the Van Trump Report, the Yield Lab Institute, and Family Farms Group. I'm Hannah Hund, an analyst on the iSelect Fund Ventures team, and I'm excited to welcome you all to today's discussion. Agrifood Conversations is all about driving innovation in agriculture. Each month, we highlight a specific theme, including emerging topics such as soil health, plant genetics, vertical farming, and aquaculture, to name a few. This month's theme is Food is Health, and on today's call, we are joined by Ale Manchuliansu, founder and CEO of Planetarians. Planetarians is on a mission to make healthy ingredients affordable via sustainable manufacturing, with a stated goal of redirecting 100% of all defatted sunflower seeds into direct human consumption by 2030. The company's patented technology does not use chemicals, uses 0.5 to 1 water, and does not generate byproducts. It is looking for allies to scale up trials to validate product assumptions, including beef-like muscle whole cuts with clean taste, better texture, higher protein quality that is sustainable and affordable. Each of you knows companies are more likely to succeed with the right network of customers, talent, investors, and advisors. We've invited you to this call because you're some of the smartest, most talented people in Planetarians' market. You're potential customers for Planetarians' products and services. You have built a company similar to Planetarians, or you are a sophisticated business person or agricultural professional who understands the market and the challenges and opportunities Planetarians may face. Before we get started, we have a quick poll question to get a better idea of who we have on the call today. Please take a few seconds to answer. A few process comments while you answer that poll. We are not soliciting investment. This presentation is to provide information to help Planetarians find customers, mentors, and other strategic relationships that can help them grow their business. You are all on mute. You can use the chat window to ask a question at any time. This presentation is being recorded and will be available for replay. So without further delay, I'm pleased to introduce Ale Manchuliansu, founder and CEO of Planetarians.
Thank you, Hannah, and thank you for the opportunity to showcase our technology and really find the collaborators and like-minded people to maybe develop it further, better. Today I want to tell you about our recent breakthrough that we made literally in March. And if you want to ask deeper questions regarding the sunflower, happy to answer it later during our Q&A. So today my presentation will be dedicated to the meats and the clean meats, because companies like Beyond Meat or Impossible Foods, they did a great job showcasing that meat analogs can be not only healthy, but also taste like the real meat. But the main concern of those companies right now is the cleanliness, because meat industry found a very large pain point. They say, guys, you maybe propose us plant-based ingredients and they are supposedly healthier, but they are made from the highly processed isolates. So it's still no one answer, is it healthy or not? And meat alternative companies are looking for the cleaner solutions that our company tackled for the last year. So what we do, we use water instead of alkali, instead of acids, and instead of alcohols to wash away impurities. And I'm very happy to say that we got the patent for our core technology a couple of weeks ago. We use the extruders to decellularize the protein and wash away soluble, mostly carbs and starches. And then without any further drying, we produced high moisture meat analogs. We had a pretty good pool of investors, and we wanted to present our burgers made from our ingredients at Expo West. And right after, ink our round A. Unfortunately, since the Expo West was initially postponed and then canceled, so we had 6 months of window until September, when the next investment opportunity will be open for us. And we thought, well, what can we do? What if such things happening around? And we thought, maybe we made a good clean solution, and maybe we reduced the water down to 7:1 for those who work it with isolation. You know that this number for isolates, it's 30:1. So we already made a good work reducing water, but it's still 7. It's still results in many wastewater. What if we try to reduce that water consumption lower? And solving our problem, we thought that if water initially wash it away impurities, what if we use the fungi to eat the impurities? Because fungi love starches, fungi love sugars, the primary impurities we had in our initial ingredients. Since fungi at solid state fermentation requires only 1/2 water ratio, it's ideally solved our water problem. But when we started to look further, we realized that since fungi contain protein itself, so we can increase the yield. So instead of washing impurities, but processing those sugars and starches, we can create extra protein. And since mycoprotein has a higher protein quality, so overall mix of the fungi and the initial ingredients would be higher. Moreover, mushrooms and fungi known for cleaning the taste. So we had the expectation that we can get the cleaner flavor. Well, it started to sound a little bit crazy. It couldn't be so good, and nobody came to the solution earlier. So the first thing I did, we reached out to our colleagues from the Good Food Institute, asking, guys, look at our process and tell us, is it novel or not? And science team of Good Food Institute spoke internally, plus they reached out across their network, and they sent us back the image where they say that we're tackling a really novel approach that was never used by other companies. It encouraged us, and we filed our patent application dedicated for extrusion, fermentation, solid state fermentation and extrusion. If it works, and if we are able to occupy this niche on this value chain, we probably can bring not only clean, but also affordable, because of the high yield products. All you know that meat industry, it's a trillion dollar market. Plant-based market grows the fastest rates. So, and if we're able to capture a fraction of that market, it will be measured by billions. Good upside. And it looks like we have a good cards to play this game. Look, the product we got looks like the whole cuts, not like the minced meats made from the textured vegetable protein. If you look at the statistics of sales in the meat aisle, you may notice that whole cuts are responsible for more than 80% of sales, while the minced meat-based products, well, less than 20. Second, since we increased the yield we significantly reduced the costs. And since we do not dry our ingredients, because normally when you isolate, then dry it, and then again rehydrate, so we make it in one step. So we have pretty good economics behind. For sure, it's yet to be tested on the large scale, but it's promising. Since our financial markets at this moment does not allow to raise money and build our own facility, so we started to offer our process as the downstream step in the meat processing. So you have already all your meat mixers, fat making, packaging, everything. And instead of purchasing proteins, you may embed it into the, your process line. So, giving us a fraction of the fee. And right now, already pretty big number of high-level companies working with us, evaluating our samples. And since we are speaking remotely, you cannot try our burgers. Let me give you the sense of the flavor from the from Tyson review. You may read it whole in the bottom, but I mostly like the fact that resembles marinated beef. And having the pretty big variety of substrates where we can apply our technology, we think that if we offer cleaner soy and pea, it would be the fastest way to the market. Let me compare our technology to alternatives on the market. I already mentioned that we are cleaner than more or less affordable isolated plant proteins. So we are significantly cheaper than mycelium-based products, mycoprotein made by the submerged or liquid fermentation by old school companies like the Corn, like Myco Technology, or the newer entrants like Energy or Atlas. And compared to the holy grail of the alternative meat industry, cultured meats, we already on the market, and so we have we don't have the so these companies are way off the market today. So let me summarize. We are clean. We have zero waste during the processing, and our products resembles the meat-like texture. Since Hannah said that we are looking for the partners, collaborators, mentors, let me give you an overview of who we are. So I'm several times entrepreneur, and last 7 years I'm working in the food industry. And my co-founder Anastasia started that business with me 7 years ago, where we mutually formulated and sold over 1 million servings of nutritionally complete drinks under the 100% food trademark. And actually, we stumbled the byproducts, which I was speaking above, sourcing the ingredients for our own formulations. So let me jump on the next slide and get back to the team a little bit later. So I remember we were sourcing the new ingredients, and I paid $5,000 for the metric ton of soy protein those days. And I stumbled sunflower oil cake, which had lower protein, just 35, not like the isolates. But instead of 5,000, they asked it just 200. So 5,000 and 200, drastic difference. Give me all. Unfortunately, it was feed grade, so you cannot use it by law for the food products. And the isolation process that worked well for soy didn't work so well for sunflower. So major companies like ADM, Cargill, Bunge abandoned that byproduct, and the only market that they had is just the animals. This is why it was so cheap. But I was very much seduced by the cost optimization, and circling that around, I thought, well, Ali, if you have the product, 100% food, with the nature of this product, all the nutrients according to FDA 2000 calorie diet, not only proteins, but also carbs, fats, minerals, vitamins, why should you isolate the protein? Why not to take that ingredient as the whole ingredient and supplement with the missing ingredients? And that changed it all. So all we need to do is just to make it sterile and usable in the food industry. So we made high protein, high fiber flour out of these ingredients. But later, we had some traction with flour, and Barilla, before investing in us, made a great tasting pasta, and not only pasta, but also other bakery applications. But because of the dark color, because of polyphenols and chlorogenic acids, we didn't have much traction with flour on the market. But for the meat applications, dark color was not so crucial. So we upgraded our technology to the meats, and this is what I told you in the beginning. And to make that further work, we teamed with Jamie Valenti Jordan, who helped companies like Campbell's, Del Monte, and recently Hampton Creek to scale their manufacturing processes. And Josh Deschaines, who built the sales for the sorghum, one of the cleanest flours on the market. So now we have the complete set of people, but I would love to collaborate with microbiologists, because solid state fermentation comprises a lot of opportunities to improve it further. So at this moment, let me share my email for your private questions, but if you have open questions, I'm ready to answer. Hannah, can you facilitate the Q&A?
Absolutely. Ale, thank you so much for presenting all of this, and congratulations on all of your progress to date. I would like to let the attendees know that they can ask a question either by using the Q&A chat function in the middle of the screen, and you can also raise your hand and I will unmute you so that you can ask your question aloud. Perfect. I'll kick off the questions. What are some of the greatest challenges in developing ingredients in this kind of alternative protein space?
Well, taste. So that's the main, and I think well, 90% is the taste. So so that's the major thing.
Yeah, how do you kind of overcome that challenge?
Well, our technology allows to remove the off notes or bitterness, which is typical, for instance, for the pea protein. And normally companies spend money on the bitter blockers and special other ingredients to mask it. So if you make it naturally, this is the huge advantage. And soy that we can find in the great products from Impossible, from Garden, from or Morningstar, still has the beany flavor, which is the barrier for people who like the meat. So companies looking for the ways to make it as neutral as it possible, and then enhance already with their secret techniques like heme or others. So in our bet that fungi can remove those off nodes and aftertaste. And let me put here a slide with the Tyson feedback. It looks like we're on that way.
Great. Yeah, thank you for that. We have another question from Sarah Williams. She asks, what are the steps in your plan to commercialize the new meat analog product?
Can you once again
Absolutely. Sarah wonders, what are the steps that you plan to take to commercialize your meat analog products?
Well, we are ingredient company. So for us, there are two ways actually, either to sell the ingredients, but for that we need to manufacture, and it was our initial plan. And the second option is to license our technology to existing meat manufacturers, so they can embed it into as the downstream processing and replace the proteins they purchase from other suppliers. Right now, working with all those companies, exploring both opportunities, and based on the letters of intent that we are collecting from them, we will be choosing which way we go. We suppose that so if our scale-up trials scheduled for the June, July, in August and September, that would be the final decision.
Great. And what are some of the, I guess, what are some of the main components or, I guess, thought processes behind deciding between going down the path of licensing the technology or manufacturing?
I wish I had the luxury to choose because both ways comprise the benefits. When you manufacture, you have initially higher margins, but you have the necessity to build the facility, it's time, and you are limited by the capacity of that facility. When you license, you're potentially get lower fees, but you can scale much more faster because the technology can be licensed to several companies at a time. So both ways are legit, but we will set our decision based on the letters of intent and the demand from both sides. Our sales team right now working on that, and we hope to get several options by August.
Great. Thank you for sharing that perspective. We have a question from actually an anonymous attendee. They ask, how do you feel that your progress is being affected by COVID? Does COVID affect your supply chain development or go-to-market strategy?
Well, maybe I will be criticized, but I like what's COVID made with our business. Because if we were successfully inking our round at Expo West and we're working on our existing technology, that was the one level. But due to the since the COVID challenged us, so we shifted ourselves on the next level. So second, from one, I used to travel a lot in prior months. So, but right now I'm sitting on one place. And I did such a great amount of the scientific work that I haven't maybe done for the last 6 months or a year, because I have the luxury just to sit in one place without distracting. So for me, as the technology company, I think this is it's a positive effect. So COVID helped us to focus. Although for sure, I understand that for many other aspects, COVID did not such a great job.
Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective. Certainly. Oh, I guess I have another question. Could you talk a little bit more about kind of some of the advances and intellectual property that you've been able to capture in this market?
Yeah, we started filing our patent applications back to 2017. And since that moment, we have already more applications than I have fingers on my hands. So far we have this process granted, and actually I need to replace here the application number with the actual patent already. And on top of that application, we filed several extensions because you understand that we have different substrates. For instance, if fungi can eat carbohydrates, so effectively, we may not limit ourselves only by oil cakes that we initially. So we can include more starchy grains into our pipeline. And this is one of the ways to mitigate, for instance, the color. So we understand that the fungi itself, it's a plethora of options you may choose, or you may optimize by different ways. So, and we understand that there's a multiple outcomes from the high moisture meat analog as the ingredient. So well, that's actually the scientific work was once we had that breakthrough, is to try to forecast, okay, what could it be potential solutions in, well, a couple of years as we go, and to put that into extra patent applications. So, by the way, I said Hannah before this this webinar started, so that I'm very grateful because it accelerated our IP work also. Because speaking today in front of you, I know that a lot of well, areas already covered by additional patent applications filed before this webinar.
Yeah, congratulations on that progress. We have a follow-up question from Anonymous. Anonymous says, thank you for the informational presentation. Going off of your plan for licensing your process, how are you gaining the interest of collaborators to use your ingredients in their products?
If I correctly understood the question, the best way is just to first show them data. Second, give them a try. And once you see the data and once you see the taste, so then you may expect the offer on the table. This is how it goes. And so far we have the products made according to our previous technology. So during the forthcoming scale-up trials dedicated for this technology, we are going to generate more samples to try from several substrates. And one of the options that we may offer, if you have a specific byproduct stream, let's say, I don't know, sesame, you have a lot of sesame or brewer's spent grains, you're welcome. So you may offer this byproduct stream to test with us. Or if you need, if you want to reach a specific parameters in the proteins that you already use, for instance, soy or pea, okay, give that target for us, and we try to do our work to satisfy you can make more business for us. So this is in such collaborative way we are working. And by the way, it's not limiting for the customers only. So if you as the byproduct owner has your own substrate, you're welcome. Let's make it through our technology. Let's see what happens, and maybe we can bring a new protein source on the market. Or if you're a developer or microbiology specialist, and you have a better ideas of which fungi strains to use. Again, we are open because, well, we unexpectedly found a very interesting solution. Let's expand it together. And this is our offer for collaboration.
Great, thank you for that perspective. We have another question from Peter Hawthorne. He has a question around, if you could go to your slide number 8. Great. Peter wonders a few questions, but I'll start with the first. In what applications, such as finished products, has your product been profiled by the companies on slide 8? Have any of the third-party product development labs, such as Matson, profiled your ingredients and applications?
The best, we collaborated with Matson. I'm not aware about the products they made from the samples we several times sent to them. So probably that was the either internal work or the application that didn't work. But if you go into our website, planetarians.com, you may see their applications made together with the Barilla team, because Barilla, before investment in us, invited us to Parma, to their R&D center. And we made pasta, we made bread, we made tortilla, we made like breads, like a crisps together with them. With the Amadori, this is the Italian meat processor. It's like Tyson. We made meatballs, and you can see the images of the meatballs on the website. So that was the products made from our high protein, high fiber flour. From the proteins made according to this technology, we had the opportunity to showcase burgers made from our ingredients at Fancy Food Show in January in San Francisco. That was the last well, opportunity to provide the taste. So, and right now our corporate partners from this list making the samples. So probably we already have some, I cannot say maybe details, but we have the collaborations with partners who are going to make the meat applications from our newer ingredients and with the permission to showcase it for others. We will have a booth at Expo East in September, and for us this is the moment where we're going to present applications made from our products. Did I answer that question completely, or maybe you want to elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that answers a lot of it, and Peter, feel free to ask any follow-ups. But another follow-up that Peter had as part of that question is, what is the largest scale, pounds or tons of ingredient, at which you have run manufacturing and product acceptance trials?
Product acceptance trials. That means the final applications. Just to make sure that we are, as an ingredient company, we do not make the final applications. So here I may only guess some of our customers tried the metric tones of our ingredients to make their applications trials. We have customers who purchase truckloads of our high protein, high fiber flour, and their products available across the United States. So, but well, I'm not sure that I can answer this question. Other words, like I said.
Great. So what is kind of did you say truckloads? I guess I wonder now, what is kind of the scale that you've been producing the ingredient?
Yes, the flour we sell truckloads. That's correct.
Great. We have another question from an attendee. They wonder, given that there are quite a few new startups working on upcycling, what is Planetarian's competitive advantage? Additionally, what do you believe is necessary for a startup to be successful in the upcycling space?
Well, you need to understand that upcycling is just a method. And you need to find your killer application. So you need to find the ingredient and the product where it could be reveal itself greatly. So looking back at our own history, so when we started with the flour, that was unfortunately, we failed to use it in our own applications in 100% food because it had fiber, and fiber settles down, so it didn't work well in the liquid applications. So we had at this moment we have the companies buying truckloads of the flour. But we dreamed about something larger. So this technology with high moisture meat analogs that we developed last year was our attempt to tap into the meat alternative market, where the dark color is less an issue. So, and right now with this third version of our technology, where we're able to expand the number of substrates which we can process, that means we can shift from dark sunflower to something lighter colored. For instance, the image on this slide is this is the combination of the soy plus sunflower. So then you can get the customer. So summarizing, upcycling is just a method. So you need to not only to find the byproduct to apply your upcycling method, but also the final application. And now I understand the question from Peter much more better for me. That's yeah.
Great. And thank you for that perspective. We have another question from Daphne. Daphne wonders if you could talk more about who you see as your direct competitors.
Well, I don't like the word competitors. We still have to have this slide for the presentation, but all those companies are your allies. So we together, well, making the food products healthier. And we can learn from each other, we can help each other, we can collaborate. But if you want the direct comparison, so we have the isolates from multiple sources. We have the fermented proteins, and we have the cultured meat as the competitors for us. Because right now we focus on the high moisture meat analogs.
Thank you. Well, attendees, please feel free to put in any additional questions that you have. In the meantime, I'm going to ask one of my final questions, which is, how can the audience help you out here, and how can they best get in contact with you?
Contact is very easy. My initials am@planetarians.com. I check emails throughout the day, so feel free to reach out. But answering the question about the capabilities, look at this diagram deeper and think, where is your core technological product fits? Substrates or the extrusion? By the way, a lot of possibilities here. So fungi, if you're a microbiologist, or maybe fermentation equipment, because bioreactors for the solid state fermentation, not so common thing. They normally custom made, and there are a lot of improvements here. So wet extrusion, well, if Buehler, Kleckstrahl, Wenger, or Coperian so present on this webinar or looking, so we're open. Yes. And applications. We are just in the beginning of the alternative meat era. So we like to think that our technology provides a great platform to make multiple applications. So they may be co-extruded. So for instance, as on the last step, in addition to our ingredients, you can use your own ingredients, and we can co-extrude. And those high moisture meat analogs may be turned into the semi-moisture, like jerky. And well, look at how many people like to treat their pets, and pets also like the meats. And by the way, not every time the pets get the best whole cuts from our animals. So you may want to cleaner or healthier pet food. It is also the opportunity to work here. So once again, if you want to collaborate, so send us a note. Let's schedule the one-for-one call, and we can definitely find the point to collaborate.
Perfect. Well, Ale, I want to thank you for joining us today and presenting on your company. I'm really excited by the mission of Planetarians and really want to congratulate you on all of the progress that you've made. And to the attendees, thank you for your engaged interaction with us today, and really want to let you know that if you want to share this presentation with anyone that you know that thinks they'd be a good fit, you can find a replay of this on agrifoodconversations.com in 24 hours. We host these calls every week at 3 p.m. Central, and you can register to come to our next ones by going to agrifoodconversations.com. Thank you all for your attendance, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.